Hey everyone, welcome to week 9, Annotated Bibliography week, where we talk about our annotated bibliographies. So we don't have discussion, but instead I hope that you're taking the time that you would typically invest in this week and put it toward the annotated bib. For our purposes, what we're going to do for this video is talk a little bit about the annotated bibliography and how it pulls into the application development, choosing topics, and even finding sources that are somehow credible or reasonably transferable to what you're trying to do. So the annotated bibliography is relatively straightforward. You are to find at least six peer-reviewed scholarly resources to use. So that does not include books, editorials, websites, or conference papers, just peer-reviewed articles. And I'll show you, similar to the case study, how to access that and then how we're going to gather that information, synthesize it, and summarize it in a way that is conducive to our paper itself. So again, for each of the sources you find and use, what you'll end up doing is you'll provide us with a full citation and APA, and I'll give you a link that'll help you with that. And then you're also going to have a 1 to 2 paragraph summary. And I explained this in the other annotated bibliography video, but I figured we might as well just go hands-on and try to see it in action, see how I would approach it, and hopefully this helps you understand it. So if we go, and I'll switch ahead to the second camera view. So if we go in and we try to figure out what is it that we want to talk about, usually the course calendar is the first line of defense. Okay, so we have weeks such as the overview of communication technologies, interpersonal relationships, impression management, virtual community problematic, privacy, and then if you want to, you can look into the weeks that we haven't covered yet, although I would generally recommend looking at the 6 weeks that we've covered so far of content. But you can talk about political communication, media as a learning tool, mass media effects. And usually what we see happening is that for the application development paper, you'll use some ideas from the political comm and media. Excuse me. So as we go ahead and we look at the UWM website, pardon me, we'll just go ahead and go into libraries, okay? So let's go ahead and assume that we want to talk about privacy, okay? So what we'll do here, just to get started, is we'll type in privacy, hit go, and bring it to this right here. Now the first line of defense that we talk about, peer-reviewed journals. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit just so that we can see this. When you're going through the filters, the first thing you're going to do, since all we're looking for is peer-reviewed journals, is click peer-reviewed journals. Now this might make me have to go back, but let's go ahead and hit advanced search. Okay, so what we're looking for is articles that contain the word privacy, because we're very interested in privacy. But because this is a communication class, we're going to type in technology. And let's say for your application development paper, you want to develop an application that ensures privacy when people are using smartphones. So let's go ahead and try to filter this as much as possible. It may be the case that we filtered it too specifically and we don't have articles that help support the idea that we're looking for. If that's the case, what we'll do is we'll try to find articles that are tangentially related. So if we don't find any articles about smartphone technologies in terms of privacy, what we might instead look for, instead of smartphones, we might just look for privacy and technology in general. Instead of finding something about smartphones, we might find something with social media, such as Facebook and Twitter, and find ways to use that literature and link it to the arguments that we're making. But for our purposes, the application development, we're looking for at least 6 articles that deal with privacy and some degree of communication. So we have privacy, we have technology, and let's go ahead and type in smartphones and see what comes up. So we went from 24,000 to 59 articles. Now again, it does make you go back and click peer-reviewed journals. We'll do that. And we have 22 articles. So we went from 24,000 articles that have keywords of privacy, technology, and smartphones, and took that 24,000 of just privacy to 22 total articles with this idea of privacy, technology, and smartphones, okay? What we're going to do now is we're just going to simply look at the articles that are presented here, and we can see it actually highlights some of the words that we search for. So we're just looking through here, conceptual privacy framework for health information on wearable device. So this article, I believe, has something to do with the way that wearable technology and health are intertwined. So this, as you're going through and you're thinking, oh, this might sound interesting. challenges, issues, trends in fall detection systems. So I imagine this has to be the commercials with I've fallen and I can't get up, something like that, which I believe is a wearable technology. So in a way, this search is allowing us to see information and maybe combine what areas of literature have to come forward. Mental state and mental behavior, sensors, smartphones. Okay, another wearable health-related topic. So first three are health-related. The fourth one, participatory healthcare. Very interesting. So far, based on the information that we wanted to see, privacy, technology, and smartphones, we found out that health is actually a big sort of uniting topic with all of these ideas. So first four articles related to health, information ethics, cryptanalysis, algorithms, and road networks. So let's go ahead and say that this is a very fruitful search, assuming that the first four of these articles have something to do with what we're going for. So let's go ahead and open this in a new tab. Okay, and then let's click academic search complete. No results are found. Okay, we're just going to keep going until we can actually find the article, hopefully. Okay, cool. So right here, we see the article here, these authors, which I would butcher their names, so I apologize ahead of time. And let's just look at the abstract. So for our annotated bibliography, we're going to create a basic summary of information about the article. So what's the basic premise? What are the theories? What are the major concepts used? And what are the takeaways, okay? And the abstract usually gives us a brief snippet. Now for our annotated bib, we're not copy and pasting the abstract over. We're instead going to look at the information presented by the abstract and try to use that as insight as to, hey, does this actually fit into what we're talking about? So wearable health technology provides doctors with the ability to remotely supervise their patients and wellness. Okay, so that makes sense, seems logical. Secrecy demand of wearable devices, including smartphones, smartwatch, and their computer technologies that can soon change the way healthcare is provided. Okay, so this seems like it has to do with privacy because there's privacy involved between the privacy and the privacy with the wearer of the technology, so the patient and then the doctor, and how information is being shared and distributed between them. One thing that I catch right away as I'm looking through this abstract is let's go back here, when we search smartphones, we had smart space phones. As I'm looking at this article here, I see smartphone as one word. So if we were to go back and research, which let's go ahead and do that now. Let's just type in smartphone, one word. We're going from 22 articles. Let's search it. 82 articles. Click peer reviewed. 30 articles. Interesting. And we see that of those articles, we have different ones. Interesting. So this is just sort of a learning in the moment example of as you're going to search through information, you might indeed find out that the way that you're searching, the keywords that you're searching, are not as specific or maybe too broad. In this case, we find that the keyword that we're searching is actually not the best approach. So, okay, this seems relatively straightforward. Let's see if we could download the PDF here. Here it is, and in front of us we have about 14 pages, excluding the references, of information that has to do with things on our topic. So the first step that we'll do, again, look through the abstract. Does it seem to align and fit with what we're talking about? Maybe read through the introduction. The expectation is that when you decide on these articles, you'll read them from start to finish, okay? But for our purposes, just to make sure that this aligns well with what we're looking for, we'll read the abstract. If that seems to check out, we'll go to the introduction. Okay, there's a nice figure, mobile sensors and area of coverage. That's pretty cool. There's some graphs, also very cool. And then we start to see the review of literature here. Again, we're looking for concepts and theories that are present, and this is what you'll write about. So far, we're seeing a review on technology and health application. We're starting to find very specific concepts and ideas. Operation systems main features, so you might come here and say, okay, there's some main features of these wearable technologies and these platforms. We're going, and we're seeing more information. We're seeing some Google Glass, which is super cool. Also, on the topic of privacy, seems to be pretty invasive. And we see this really cool table. I'm actually really excited that this is the example that we're going with. And we see this example of platforms, the applications, the functions, and the audience. If this was your topic, and again, this might be hard for you to see, let's just zoom in. If this was your topic, this might be an awesome place for you to think, hey, maybe I want to just look at ID notes for the Palm OS. Now, if we're talking about 6 peer-reviewed articles, you might find one on this topic. Again, we're looking for articles and ideas, concepts, theoretical frameworks that align with what we're talking about. It might not be specifically about the ID notes, but if the functions of ID notes is to look at organs, illnesses, and related treatments, different types of indexing between the doctor and the patient, we might look to things that are similar to this. Again, we're slowly just refining, we're going through these ideas, we're scrolling. This article clearly gets published because it has all these great graphics, it has these citations, so forth. And we're going, and it's proposing this idea. Hopefully this doesn't make anyone nauseous. And then we'll go to the conclusion, okay? Abstract, intro, conclusion, just to see if this really aligns well. In this paper, we improve privacy and security of wearable devices intended for use in healthcare provision by designing a new framework that can work on every wearable operating system. Okay, so your application development might actually look specifically at operating systems and the privacy that's associated with that. So we have these technologies, right? We have our smartphones, and inherently that carries a lot of information. It has our Chase banking account, it has our login for our email, it has pictures that are being sent to our significant others, close others, it has our daily information. So there is some degree of privacy violation that might be there. So we think this is a great article, okay? I think we're gonna use this. We're gonna just sort of bookmark it right now. So let's go ahead and create a second document right here, just for our purposes, to get started. Okay, so let's just say this is the annotated bibliography assignment. And we have, for our purposes, and we'll hopefully format it a little bit closer to what we have listed on D2L, which is now escaping me. Huzzah. Hopefully we'll have it set like this. But as you're just going through for the first time, what I want you to do is just type in research and type in what your topic is. So again, going back to this idea of our keywords, let's type in privacy, technology, and smartphone use. Okay. As you're going through these articles, whether it be 30 articles or 40 articles, 50 articles, you'll want to just keep going back to your keywords. Now, the keywords are hopefully filtered through the library, but go back to your keywords and find out, is this article that I'm choosing really hitting on the topics that I'm looking for? Privacy, technology, and smartphone use. Okay. If it is, we're in a really, really good place. So let's go ahead, we'll go to this article. We're looking at this through APA citation, and again, there'll be a link. But for the most part, what we'll look at is the first name of the first, or the last name of the first author, their first initial, and Shukur, Z, and the year is 2014. Okay, and actually, some articles will do this. They have a citation right here. For our purposes, we're just going to go ahead and type this in APA just to give you an example. Conceptual privacy framework for health information on a wearable device. Okay. All this is lowercase unless it was a proper noun or if there was a colon or some sort of punctuation. The the journal is PLOS One, which I may be incorrectly citing. Yeah, we look here. It is capital PL, lowercase OS 1. We know that it is volume 9, and we know that it is pages 1 through 16 of this. And we actually, thankfully, have the DOI number, which we're going to go ahead, copy, paste, click here, keep text only, and just for clarity's sake, we're just going to make this Times New Roman, 12-point font, and we'll go ahead, double space, 0 point after, and here we go. So, boom, we have our APA citation, we'll have our actual explanation / analysis / preview of the article, which will be 1 to 2 paragraphs. And then at the bottom here, we'll have keywords, and then we'll sort of work it from there. So, are we on board? Does that make sense? And then we'll just literally go ahead and rinse and repeat from that. We have the basic annotated bibliography. We have the keywords we're looking for. We know how to find peer-reviewed articles. We know to look through the abstract, the introduction and conclusion to start. And then we know how to input all of that information in a very succinct, specific way. Okay. If you have any questions still and you want to chat with me, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm assuming that all of you are just stellar scholars and you know exactly what you're doing for your annotated bib, you know exactly what you're doing for your application development paper, and you're good to go. If not, again, please let me know.